nation. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. emphasized that he wanted his 4 little children to one day live in a nation where they would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. On Monday, America will pause to remember this civil rights icon this year on his actual birthday, January 15th. In his honor, more than 2,000 people plan to gather the night before to drill down on one of his ideals, racial reconciliation. I am joined now live by the man leading that event, Reverend Dr. Samuel Gordon. Thank you for being here today.
It's my pleasure to join you.
When you say the words racial reconciliation and talk about it as a goal, it's the kind of thing that makes many good-intentioned people sort of feel helpless. You've been hosting the event that is scheduled for Sunday night for 30 years now. Obviously, this problem is not in our rear view. How do you not get discouraged?
It's one day at a time. I consider myself a bridge builder, putting one plank down at a time, getting people to have a conversation, to talk about who they are, to tell their story. Everyone has a story, so I need to hear your story. And as we put one plank down, you put a plank down, somewhere we're going to meet in the middle. We're going to have a cup of coffee and talk about what do we have in common.
Last July, California's Attorney General Rob Bonta released the Hate Crime in California report, which covered 2022 numbers. Race plays prominently in many of these incidents, and the report found that such crimes increased more than 20% from the previous year. Reported hate crimes against Black people were the most prevalent and increased more than 27% in that time frame. What have you noticed over the 30 years you've been trying to tackle this issue about kind of how it's changed over the years?
Well, one of the things that concerns me is that we need to continue the conversation. We need to have what I consider a roundtable meeting, talking about our communities, the disparities in our communities, jobs that we don't have in our community, healthcare that needs to be improved, education that needs to be talked about. But we have to come to the table to talk about those issues, to have some conversations about the elephant in the room, and everybody understanding that Dr. King paid a price. There is a cost for unity. There's a cost for reconciliation. And we have to talk about, as leaders, as the faith community, what are we willing to sacrifice for the cause of unity and having those pertinent conversations.
COVID changed a lot about our society, and I know you think that that time of the height of the COVID pandemic maybe has had some people reverting back to old patterns, old behaviors.
Well, the pandemic has impacted our region, it's impacted our nation, it's impacted our communities. People have lost their jobs, they've lost their homes, haven't been able to get back on track. We've lost some education for our young people that did not have the technology to do home learning. And so we have a lot of room to come back, to get back to where we once were. But it's going to cause all of us to come to the table to talk about how do we do that? How do we provide the resources for those that are in need? The homeless population, it's huge, and it's getting worse. We need to have a stronger conversation from all of our city leaders, including our faith community, to talk about some of the measures that need to take place that we can solve some of these issues.
At this Sunday gathering at Trinity Life Center at 5:30 p.m., how do you plan to challenge the reps of the 30 churches that are coming and the others to be bridge builders?
Well, we've sent out an invitation to the faith community. We'll have over 30 churches represented there. We've invited all of our civic leaders and community leaders to come to be a part of that celebration. First, as a faith community, we've come together to honor God, thanking him for another year that he's allowed us. And when we come to a new year, there's an assignment that comes with that. Every day of life comes with an assignment. So we will challenge our leaders, we will challenge our pastors, we will challenge individuals in that room. There is a cost for unity. What are you willing to do tomorrow? What are you willing to do next week? Are you willing to extend a hand to someone that doesn't look like you, sound like you? Are you willing to invite someone to have a cup of coffee, to hear their story? What are you willing to do to improve our community, to improve where you live, to improve the quality of life for our students and the generation? What are you willing to do for that? So we're going to challenge everyone who walks into that building with that idea.
Alrighty, that is a huge call to action, Reverend Gordon. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you can't attend in person and want to join in on this Sunday discussion, it will be live streamed at www.mlksacramento.com. Thank you. More events in our area happening to pay respect to the American activist Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on his day. In Modesto, there will be a lunch at 11 a.m. followed by a march at 1:30 p.m. at the King Kennedy Center, ending at 10th Street Place downtown. Then the UC Davis School of Law will host its 5th annual MLK Day of Service and Celebration. That event is free and includes lunch, a donation drive, a keynote address, and volunteer opportunities. You can RSVP on the UC Davis website. And in Lodi, the First United Methodist Church is hosting their 26th anniversary celebration of unity. The event starts at noon with speakers, music, and an essay competition.